Hi, so we're going to start talking about Microsoft Word. Just as a reminder on how to access MindTab's Engage MindTab content. This is what it looks like for me. I know yours is a little bit different, but you should see a tab that says Course Content, and it says MIS 200. While that's loading, I'm going to pull up the syllabus. You should see that in your course content as well. And download it. Didn't really want it to download, but evidently it does. I'm going to pause this while everything's still trying to come up. Okay, so I had noticed that I uploaded the wrong syllabus. And so I've done that, I've corrected that. So if we look here, it's still downloading. I thought I had that not, but okay. So what we're going to be doing this for next coming Thursday, for the first Thursday in September, for week ending 9/8, is we're going to be working on Word modules 1, 2, and 3, and a capstone. Let's see here. So is MindTab open now? Yes. Okay. So we're going to be going to Word. And you should be able to access everything as you're seeing it here. And so we're going to be doing Module 1 and SAMPath 1. Why am I logged out? Hold up. Okay, I'm back in. Let me get back in here. So we're Module 1. We're going to be creating, formatting, and editing a Word document with a picture. So we click on that right here.
You like the ice cold beer radio I sent you?
Mm-hmm.
That little boy cute as hell.
Yes.
Did you see the top?
Okay. So this is actually what the book is very similar to, and this is what you should be able to access without purchasing the full book, which saved you about $100 or so. So if we have a project we're going to be working on, we're going to, I think we're going to create a flyer. And everybody's familiar with the concept of a flyer. It's meant to promote an event or sell an item or something similar to that nature. So we're going to create a flyer with the pictures. Again, a flyer, we see them everywhere. They're on bulletin boards. You have the ideal flyer has some sort of heading that kind of captures people's attention, ideally with an image that's appealing and font that is easy to read, and the point of the follow-up, the call to action would be like, evidently to call this number. We want to make all that stuff that's easy to read, easy to understand, and easy for a person to just be able to kind of, when they first get a glimpse at it, say, hey, I want to learn more about this. So to run Word and specify settings, if we're using a computer to do this project in the module, you want your screens to match the figures in this book. I'm not going to worry about that. Run Word and create a blank document. Apparently it's not selected. Okay. So let's go ahead and want to move this over to the left so I can see what I'm doing. Everybody should have Word, a desktop version of Microsoft. If you don't, let me know and we'll figure out what we need to do. But I have it on mine, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Move it over. Okay. So we're going to run Word and create a blank document in a Word window. So when you open up Word, it automatically creates a blank document. If the Word window is not maximized, click the maximize button. So here in the top left right-hand corner, you see if you hover over it, you see it says close, maximize, minimize. If you click on maximize, it maximizes it. You can restore down. I'll move this over. Yes. So in the print layout button on the status bar, click on it so you can see your screen in print layout view. So I'm going to maximize this again. Print preview. Is that what it was wanting to show? In the print layout button. Oh, sorry. Layout. Where's print layout? Okay. It's under view, print layout. So let's go over some of the stuff in here. So you can see we have a blank sheet of paper. The document window. If we have some text, it would be show up on there. We have a way where we can see any kind of styles that we want to apply quickly. We can look at read mode. It should look like that. Print layout. Oh, that's what they were talking about. And web layout. So let's move on. So what is a print layout view? It's a default in the print layout view, which shows a document on a mock sheet of paper. What is normal style? When you create a document, Word formats the text using a particular style. It's called normal style. What if rulers appear on my screen? So we can click on the ribbon to display the view tab and then remove the check mark from the okay. So let's look at that stuff. So in this example was called Surf's Up, right? That's what this flyer is going to be. You can see how this is normal text. Okay. See in the styles? Am I recording? So make sure. Yeah, I'm still recording. Right. Yeah. Okay. So make sure. Okay. And if we select this font again, this text, we can alter the style quickly and easily based off, whatever the defaults that's in here. Okay. But we're going to leave it at normal text. And what else did I talk about? It was the roller, wasn't it? Yeah, the roller. Okay. So there's no rollers being seen right now, but you can go to View and click on Roller, and you'll be able to see your roller. Now, I usually leave the ruler on And the reason so is because it's an easier way to adjust your margins and your indentations. If you have some specific indentations you're doing for a report or any kind of anything, it's an easy way to adjust and make those edits. So you can do painting indents and so on and so forth. So I usually leave my rollers on. It doesn't take up that much space. So and I just prefer having the rollers on to have a good indicator, um, where I'm at, especially if you're tabbing. It tabs at every point, half-inch increment, and it can be nice to see exactly what tab stop you're at. So we also have grid lines. I've not really used this a whole lot, not had a need to. If I'm going to do something with grid, I would most likely be in Excel, but that is an option if you need it. It actually talks about the show grid lines in the background and the document for perfect object placement. So if you're doing any kind of images in there, that might be a use for it. I just usually eyeball it. I'll turn my roller back on because I prefer it that way. Navigation pane. It can help you, if you have multiple documents, multiple pages in a large document, this could be an easier way to help you find what you're looking for. This is obviously I only have 2 words, so this won't be really useful right now, but you can turn it off and turn it on. Okay, so let's see what else the book talks about. Entering text. The first step in creating the document is to enter its text. With the projects in this book, you will enter text by typing on the keyboard. By default, Word positions text you type at the left margin. In a later section of this module, you'll learn how to format. Okay. By the way, Word window, the modules in this book begin with Word window opening as it did in the initial installation of the software. To type text, to begin creating the flyer for this module, type the headline and document window Y. Type the headline in the document window. The headline is the first line of the text of the cert flyer. The following steps type the first line of the text in the document. Okay. So we typed surfs up. Okay, that's fine. So what happens if you make an error? You can just hit backspace or delete it. Spelling and grammar checkbox. So there is this grammar and spelling checkbox. Okay, got a typo here. Put certs up instead of surfs up. You see that it's indicated by a typo, or Microsoft said this looks like a typo, and it's indicated with a red squiggly line. So you can do a couple things. You can right click and it'll give you some spelling suggestions. None are right for what we're trying to do. Or you can also do, where's that? Nope. So, there it is, check document. So under review, and then you check document. And it comes up with a side panel of an editor. Say, hey, there's a spelling error. Be saying this certs up, and what we is give you some suggestions, and the one we want is surf. So we can just click on that, and it's been complete, and you can see it's automatically updated it. So what if somebody's name is Certs, and he's wanting to just that's correct. Whether he's wanting to make fun with the words, with his name being Cert, I don't know. Anyways, we say that's a name that is correct. It's not an error. But we can access it the same way. And if we know this is going to be used repeatedly and it's going to continue to come up in an error, we can actually say add to dictionary or ignore all or ignore once, whichever applies. So then it's going to proceed to check for any other typos in the document, which there isn't any on this one. And but the next time that we use certs, it's not going to call it a typo because we told it to ignore it all. Okay. So what if we did something like, okay, that's another typo. Okay, it's two typos, same thing. So we look at spelling and we want to ignore this one because this is correct, but this is not correct. So we hit ignore once, and anytime it comes up in the future, it's still going to come up as a typo because we only said ignore once, as opposed to the other one, we said to ignore all of them. Yeah. Why did the blank space appear? My dog's barking. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Let's get rid of all this. Oh, hold on. I didn't want to do that. Go back to the book. What blank space? Why did the blank space appear between the headline and the insertion point? Each time you press the enter key, Word creates a new paragraph and inserts a blank space between the two paragraphs. Later, we'll learn how to increase the space. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about the touch. So to display formatting marks. So you might find it helpful to display formatting marks while working on a document. The reason why is it can kind of tell you where you have extra spaces and extra lines and some other things that you may not want. So depending on the setting made during the previous Word session, your Word screen already have some display formatting marks. The following step displays formatting marks if they are not already on screen. So, so formatting marks. So we got serves up. I hit enter, and it creates a blank space, like I said, because it's the start of a new paragraph. Surfs, I'm just making stuff up. I haven't read it yet. But Surfs Up is a premium surf training service. I have no idea. So if you turn on the home what's it called again? Show high, control, formatting marks. You can see this little weird looking thing. That indicates the enter button's been used. And so we're starting a new paragraph. And where I was doing those other ones earlier, I've created new lines and new paragraphs. And this little arrows right here, they indicated where I was tabbing earlier. Tabbing. You can see these little dots in between each word. That indicates one space. And that's a way, easy way to say if you got multiple spaces in something. Because sometimes whenever you're eyeballing, like something doesn't look right and you're not sure what it is. And you can see, so oops, I put an extra space in there. Sometimes you may think you have an extra space on something and you really don't. But just what the characters on either side makes it look weird. And that's just something you can just confirm you don't have an extra unwanted space in there by turning on the formatting marks. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. So we're going to go back to the home tab. I'm already there. And we're going to do the show hide button. We already did that. If you don't want them on there, you can just click on that button again. Or you can do the Control Shift star. I probably won't ever remember that. Control Shift. Where's my star button? I'm on a laptop. Star. Okay. I honestly probably will not remember that, but I just find it easier to do this. Let's see. To insert a blank line, at the end of a particular line, you click space or click enter rather, and it creates another space. And if I turn my formatting marks on, you can see, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this. Let's clean this up. So if I hit enter, it's putting blank spaces in between. To zoom page width, let's see, what's it want us to do? Next step in creating the flyer is to enlarge the content set here on the screen. You would like the text on the screen to be larger so it's easier to read. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can, what I've been doing, I'm on a laptop, so this may be different for you. I've just been using the mouse pad to zoom in and out. You might be able to do that with a mouse, typical traditional mouse on a desktop. Yeah, probably a way to do it. I'm just not working on one right now, so I don't know off the top of my head. But the other ways you can zoom in, so you can see, is in the bottom right hand area, there's a zoom bar. Zoom up and zoom down, up, down. And there's, the default of 100%. You can also do it here, zoom. And that takes you back down to the default of 100%. This takes you back up to the default of 100%. You do one page, multiple pages. Let's put another page on here. Okay, so you have multiple pages, page width. So you can click on page width and this bottom right hand corner, it looks like it went up to 170% by being page width. Multiple pages, looks like it went down to 69% by being multiple pages. Keep it at 100, that'll put it back to default. There's another way you can do it. Oh, control plus. Where's my plus? Okay, I lied. Evidently that doesn't do it. That doesn't work on this. It works on a web page, not on this. Sorry. Okay, so those are the various ways you can zoom. Why did the groups on the ribbon change? When you change from one tab to another, the groups on the ribbon change related to that particular command. Like draw will have commands related to drawing. Design will have commands related to design, like colors and fonts and stuff. Layouts will have, content related to layout, like margins, orientation, size, columns, and so on and so forth. I do admit sometimes I have trouble remembering what I'm looking for is in which tab. Like I was looking for spell check earlier, and you're not always, if you don't use it that much, you kind of forget where exactly it's at. So don't feel bad if you have to look through different tabs, try to remember what's what. If you never used it or it's not something that you've used repeatedly recently, you'll tend to forget, and that's okay. Check the page width button on the View tab to display the page the same width as the document. We did that earlier. If I change the zoom, will the document print differently? No. What is the other predefined zoom options? We can go up to through the View tab, zoom group, or the zoom dialog box. You can zoom to one page, many pages, page width, text width, and a variety of set percentages. Whereas page with zoom, it places the edge of the paper at the edge of the document window. Text with zoom places the document contents at the edges of the document window. So let's go to zoom, text width. Okay, so it just spreads it out a little bit more, and it's now at 220. Whenever it was page width, it was at 170. And now when we hit the text width, it goes to 220. Hit zoom again, whole page. So you see it's also changing right here, the percentages. Text width is 220, page width is 170. Or you can default through that, or you can just manually, if you want it 300, you can do that, or not. I lied. Maybe you can't go up that high. That's the highest you can go. You can go up 300. Let's try this again. 300. Okay. Okay. Evidently I didn't hit something right the first time. So that's Zoom. Word wrap allows you to type words in a paragraph continually without pressing the enter key at the end of each line. So I want to zoom this down to 100. I want to get rid of the second page. Okay. So say we got serves is an awesome surfing experience. We are trained, we are certified in surfing and instruction for all ages and skill levels. Okay. So what you saw happen is I typed in a couple of sentences and it got to the end of a mark. It got to the end of my ruler here because that's where my margin is. And it automatically wraps up into the next line. And the reason you can tell I did not hit the enter button is because I still have these formatting marks on, these little weird symbols. And if I had hit the enter button to get it to go to this line, it would do two things. It would create that little symbol, and it would be double space because whenever you hit enter, it creates a new paragraph and creates an extra space. I'll hit Control Z to undo that. So this is word wrap, where your text, what the computer or the program automatically wraps up your content. So if I've made my margin really small by doing that, then, or I did something with my indentation, whatever I did, you can see it's wrapping the content. Okay. Moving on. So, by the way, zooming, if it's too small for you to read, you can make it bigger, and you see me doing that. So you can see like these little dots. And the reason I have two dots between those two sentences, that's how I was taught that there were supposed to be two spaces between sentences. I think that concept has changed, but this is still a habit of mine. I still put two dots in between sentences. Let's see. Word creates a new paragraph each time you press enter. So as you type text in the document window, do not press the enter key when the insertion point reaches the right margin. Instead, press the enter key only in these circumstances: to insert a blank line, to begin a new paragraph, to terminate a short line of text and advance to the next line, to respond to questions or prompts, and a Word dialog box, task panes, or other screen object or other on-screen objects. So you only really need to use the enter button whenever you're wanting to purposely go to another line. And I'm going to keep this formatting things on just so you can see what I'm doing if you don't like them whenever you're practicing. Feel free to turn them off if they irritate you or confuse you, and turn them back on periodically to make sure you're following along okay. So I'm gonna leave mine on right now. So if you want to have a short line, yeah, one of the examples I said is to terminate a short line of text. So if we have a short line of text, it's like level 1, level 2, level 3. Can't spell level. Um, then that's a short line, right? I don't want it to be continuously on the same line. So I'm stopping the line short and just going on to the next one. To respond to questions or prompts in a Word dialog boxes, task panes, and other on-screen objects. I'm not going to mimic that, but just basically that might be, and yeah, so we're not going to demonstrate that right now, but basically that's another way you can do it. The next step is in creating the flyer is to type the body copy. So why in many flyers the body copy text appears below the headline. The following steps illustrate how the body copy text word wraps as you enter in the document, which means you will not have to press the enter key at the end of the line. So type the first sentence of the body copy. Okay, want to move this over, make that smaller, move that over, get rid of this extra content that I've been putting in there, and I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to hit enter, go down a line. So learn to surf or improve your form and skills on the waves through expert instruction from our award. Now you'll notice I'm getting close to the end of this margin right here. So it's going to wrap here in just a sec. Winning surf school. Okay, and that's exactly what it did. It got to the end of here. It's like, nope, no more room. Wrapping it up, going to the next line. Let's see. Why does my document wrap on different words? The printer connected to a computer is one factor that can control where word wrap occurs for each line in a document. So it is possible that the same document could word wrap differently on printed on different printers. Okay. If you want to see what it's going to look like printed, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. You can go to File, Print, and this comes up with a preview pane. I don't have any printers hooked up to here. It looks the same. So you can see there's not really any dramatic differences on this. If you wanted to change the margins to be really wide, so your margins became really wide and it shrunk the content up a little bit, you can choose margins to be normal, which is 111, one top, one bottom, one right, one left. The narrow, moderate, wide, or you can just do your custom. If you want to make them smaller, you can do all that. Or do the reverse of that. You can make them bigger. You can do whatever you want. They don't always have to be the same. I can have really large top margins and really large right margin. And the larger the number, the more space it's going to have. So there's more space on this side and on the top, and less space on the left side and on the bottom, which I don't have content going to the bottom. That's the idea. I'm going to put it back to normal. Orientation, right now it's in portrait orientation, which means the long way is up and down. You can do landscape, and it would look like that. We'll put it back to portrait. You can do the size of paper. Right now it's 8.5 by 11. If you were wanting to go to legal, 8.5 by 14. That's how it will look. If you want to go through other sizes, you can play with that as well. I'll leave mine at letter. I'm not going to worry about collated. Print one side. You can print. Now this is where it depends upon the printer that you have access to. Some printers will automatically print double-sided if you select it. You can just hit print double-sided or something like that. I don't have that printer hooked up to where I'm at right now at home. So if I wanted to say to print on both sides, I have to manually reload the paper for it to print on the second time. So you have options. You can print one-sided, which is the default. You can tell it to print double-sided if you have the right kind of printer hooked up, or you can do something like this if needed. If you had multiple pages, you can tell it like specifically what pages you wanted to print. Or some other current page, custom print, whatever. Okay, I'll go back here. Okay. Okay, pressing the enter key. I'll turn this back on, and it should look like this, which I believe it does, except they got an extra space there. Yeah, let's see, talk about there. Raised dot between each word indicates space bar. The first sentence of body copied entered. Insertion point of paragraph mark. Word winning cannot fit at the end of previous line, so it wraps the beginning of this line. Okay, that's what mine looks like, so we're good so far. Spelling and grammar check. So as you type in the document, Word checks your typing for possible spelling and grammar errors. So we saw this earlier, a red wavy underline means that there's a misspelling or it's not found in the dictionary. A green wavy line indicates text may be incorrect grammatically. A blue wavy line indicates a text may contain a contextual spelling error, such as a misuse of homophones, and so on and so forth. So as you type, Word automatically corrects some misspelled words. For example, if you type receive incorrectly right there, Word automatically corrects the misspelling and displays the word receive. When you press the spacebar or type a punctuation mark to see a complete list of automatically corrected words, click File on the ribbon to open the Backstage view. Click Options and then Proofing in the left pane. So let's do that. So File, Backstage, Options, down here, like this. Options, Proofing, and autocorrect options. So you can have autocorrect, math autocorrect. So if you're trying to, we'll play with these in a second. Auto format as you type, auto format actions. So let's look at the autocorrect. So it shows autocorrect option buttons. So we have two initial capitals, it'll correct it. If you capitalize the first letter of a sentence, capitalize the first letter of table cells, capitalize name of days, correct accidental use of caps lock key. You can also correct special characters, such as the copyright symbol. It's got a C and a circle. That's not really an easy thing to do, on Word. So if you put a C in parentheses, it'll automatically do it. So I want to do a snippet of that just so I can save it, and we'll explore that a little bit. Move that over here. this screen. So what does it do? What does autocorrect do? Show correct to initial capitals. I'm going to turn this off. So if I have surfs up, see what it did there? I start typing in surf and I got the first two letters capitalized by accident. It automatically takes that U to lowercase. Capitalize first letters of a sentence. Okay, let's talk. Let's type. Let's type this again. But I'm not capitalizing L. Learn to. Okay. So you notice that it automatically capitalizes the L. Capital first. We're not doing a table, so I'm not going to do that. Names of days. So today is Sunday. But don't capitalize the S. It's going to do it for me. Tomorrow is Monday. Tomorrow's Labor Day, so do you think it'll capitalize? It capitalize because it's the first letter of a sentence. Nope, doesn't capitalize that. Let's do Monday is Labor Day. Oh, okay. So it doesn't capitalize holidays. Let's see, what about Monday is Christmas? So it recognizes that holiday, but did not recognize Labor Day, which, whatever. Tuesday, well, let's do Thursday. Thursday is Thanksgiving. Oh, it didn't capitalize that one. Oh no. Next month is October. Capitalize that. So yeah, just be aware. It'll automatically capitalize stuff for you. Going back into, oh, so if we accidentally got a caps locks on, that's another one on here. Where's my mouse? Okay. Oh, I forgot I'm doing this. So let's do the cap. Let's do the caps lock one. So if I got my caps lock on right now, say today is Labor. It's not. I said that today's Labor Day. It did not correct it because I have it on all caps. But what if when you start a sentence, you do it with a capital letter and hit shift, but if I don't realize I have my all caps on, so I'm put today is, so it corrects that. And that's kind of what it did right there. So somebody had their all caps lock key on, had their all caps lock key on, and so when they hit down the shift key to capitalize the first letter of the sentence, Word corrected it because it realized what it was trying to do. But on this one right here, where everything was caps, it didn't correct anything because the assumption is that's what I meant to do. And there's a way you can fix that easily. I don't remember how off the top of my head. I'll have to look that up. What's this blue line? It's got a blue line here. What's it do? So you can right click on it, and it does, even though it didn't automatically change it, it did give you so these little blue line indicators saying that, hey, you might want to check this out, and should it be that? One of the symbols is talking about copyright. So if we need to copyright the word day and Labor Day for whatever reason, you do open parentheses, C, close parentheses, and it makes that copyright symbol. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of all that. Close that. Shoot, I closed the wrong thing. Oh, I don't want to save. I closed the wrong stupid thing. All right, let me get back in here. So I'm going back to Word. Where was that? Module 1. Module 1. Okay. Okay. So back to where I left off, I believe. Anyways, yeah. To check spelling and grammar as you type. So in the following steps, the word group N has been misspelled intentionally. So we're going to see how it captures things as you mistype it. And we already went over that. What if Word does not flag my misspelling and grammars with wavy underlines? To verify that the check spelling and grammar as you type features are enabled, click File on the ribbon to open the Backstage, and then click the Options tab in the Backstage view. Where the Word Options dialog is displayed, click Proofing in the left pane and ensure that the check spelling as you type and mark grammar errors as you type are checked. So if you don't have this being, if you don't have the error, the grammar check things happening, go to File, Options, Proofing. And everybody should have a default of this being on. So, and you can, wherever I had that today is Labor Day in all caps, if we have it checked on to be ignore words in uppercase. So we're telling Word, if we're typing in something in uppercase, everything's uppercase, ignore it because that's intentional. If you want to take that off, you can. I would recommend leaving everything as default. Ignore words that contain numbers. Ignore internet and file addresses. Flag repeated words. Let's see. Enforce accent in uppercase in French. I won't do that. Suggest from the main dictionary only. You can custom dictionaries. Again, I would just leave this all as default. Autocorrect options, check on that. And that's what was in there earlier. So when you click, make sure that this is checked, automatically use suggestion from the spelling checker. It's more useful to have that on than off. Sometimes it's annoying because it wants to automatically make a change that you don't want it to, for whatever reason that you would not want it to be. So that can be a little bit annoying, but it's still, it's the lesser evil to have this checked on. So let's show an example of that, okay? So I showed earlier we can make a copyright symbol with that. Let's say I don't want to do that. I just really want it to be a freaking C inside parentheses, right? A couple of things you can do to undo this automatic thing that Word does. In the top left-hand shortcut area, there's an undo, looks a reverse arrow. You can hit that and it'll make it just what your intent was, C inside parentheses. Or, let's do another one. You can hit Control Z. This is my go-to. Control Z, and it'll undo it. So if you hover over this back arrow, you can see it says Control Z is the shortcut. So if you're trying to do something and you really trying to do, you know what you're doing, and you're not wanting it to do stuff like that, that's for the registration or registered symbol, whatever it is. You just hit Control Z and undo it. I keep doing that. I don't want to save it. So the next thing that we were supposed to type on here is private or group. We're misspelling group. Okay, and it automatically corrects it for us. Okay, that one it did not automatically correct for us. So I'm sure there's some sort of rhyme or reason as to what it corrects, like just transposing of letters, something like that, it'll automatically correct for you. But if you're missing a particular letter, like it's going to not correct for you because it don't know what you want. So if you right click, you can see some different options. Group, group, it's group. Let's see. What if I right click the misspelled word? My desired correction is not listed in the shortcut menu. So if you don't see what you're looking for, you can click outside the shortcut menu to close the menu and then retype the correct word. So what if I meant it to be like that for whatever reason? No, wait a minute, that's not what it was. You can click outside, oh, the desired correction, sorry. Let's try that again. Groups, let's see what comes up. Okay, it has no suggestions at all because it has no idea what you're trying to do. So we don't see any suggestions. So we can click outside of it and just, spell it right. What if a flagged word actually is, for example, a proper name and spelled correctly? So now we did that earlier, but certs. Let's see, just give an example. Yeah. But say groups is correct for whatever reason. You can right click and hit add to dictionary and it won't tag it anymore. So whenever I do, how many P's was in that? 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 S. It'll capitalize it because it's the first line, but it won't capture it as a typo anymore. I want to fix this now. So we're going to enter more text. Why is it still coming up red? There we go. Okay. Press the end to move to the insertion point to the end of the current line. So you can hit end will take you to the end of the current line. So if I was here, for example, if my cursor was here, I can just hit end. It will take me to the end. Type lessons. Yes. Okay. Move that over so I can see. Lessons. Enter. Photo and video packages available. Enter. Brief. Shoes and surf board rental included. Signature line in the flyer. What does that mean? Oh, okay. To sign up for a lesson, call 555 surf. So we're going to save it. Now, what I want you to do when you're saving, I don't know if I have it set up right on my computer or not. I want you to save it in OneDrive. So go to File, Save As. I don't know if I can do this from this computer. Add a place, OneDrive. Okay. Because this is for my hockey. Okay, that won't work for me. But hopefully you guys have a way to, so I'll put it on this PC. I'll hit browse. Okay. you guys if you're not able to directly save as directly into OneDrive, save it to a place where you know it's going to be at and then upload it into OneDrive. So I just saved it to my computer. I'm going to go back to OneDrive. So I'm in Files, MIS Fall 2019. I'm going to create a new folder for, it's actually technically week 2, sorry. Create, and find it wherever you saved it at. Yeah, hold on. You can you don't have to open week 2 folder. You can just directly drag it right in there, and you see how that square moves to around that particular folder, and it'll upload. And there it's at. Okay. So where am I at now? I'm supposed to name it Surf Flyer. I think I just did mine Surf. Either way is fine. Why should you save it? You should always save, because you never know when you're going to lose it. Just never, ever not get in the habit of saving. Save all the time. So you should organize the text in a flyer. So the text in a flyer typically is organized into 3 areas. There's the headline, which is something that captures the person's attention. It's a bigger font, might have some different colors. Do something to capture their attention. Body copy is the content of what it is that you're offering, what you're doing. Bullets, if it helps, make it easier to read. And then the signature line is the last line of text on the flyer, so you can contact information or call to action. So we're going to start navigating the document. Pause this for a second. Okay, want to make this video end at, just want to try to divide this up in sections, my videos. So I'm just making it about this. 1 through 2J. Okay, going back. So navigating the document. To view only a portion of a document on the screen through the document window, at some point when you type text or insert graphs, Word probably will scroll the top or bottom portion of the document off the screen. So although you cannot see the text and graphics, once they scroll off the screen, they remain on the document. So you can navigate the document by using the directions or the insertion point direction there. So you can use top, up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow. You can do Control End, will take you to the very end of the document. Control Home will take you to the very first line of the document. You can just hit End, and it'll take you to the end of that line. You can hit Home, and not that. It's there. You can hit Home, and it'll take you to the beginning of the line. Control Down will take you down to the next paragraph. Control Up will take you to the beginning of the next paragraph. Page Up will take you up, and Page Down will take you all the way down to the next. I only have 1 page on here. You can use a scroll depending on what kind of device you're using, laptop or mouse or whatever. Okay, I'm going to stop there.